bad CG for the sake of being like bad CG.
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah, because this Dan Jones told us to watch the original 1995 one, which I'm really thankful for, and not the remade version of 2.0, where like the first like scene is unnecessarily added into be a CG animated model scene, and it's like it looks bad. Why did you add this? It doesn't add anything to the actual story or anything. It was unnecessary. When they did because
Can I just Rob, you're muted, so we can't hear anything you just said.
I'm not muted.
No, he's fine.
You're not anymore, but you were.
He's not muted, Alex.
Like, damn it, Rob.
He's not muted.
I can hear him typing.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
No Emmanuel tonight.
That that Redux was why I said that the Funimation user interface was the worst, because I started playing Ghost in the Shell and I didn't realise that was the one that had started playing, because they're both under Ghost in the Shell, but you have to pick either movie 1 or movie 2. And for some reason it defaulted to that one.
What?
And I got like 5 minutes in and I was like, I do not remember it looking this bad. And then I realised what had happened.
Because
I must have a different version.
Because you're going then.
I was going to say I've got a steelbook version, which has only got one film.
995, yeah. Because when bless you.
Yeah.
He sneezed Emmanuel into existence.
Hey.
Damn, Emmanuel's a tall dude. That must have been dreadful.
Well, imagine him coming out of his nose and just appearing.
You entered.
Are we talking about the boys?
You don't want to know.
We're asking where you were, and then Ben sneezed and you appeared.
Yeah, so weird.
Ben just sneezed you into existence.
Interesting. I could make a reference to the boys here, though that's not my power.
Yeah, boy.
The guy who could get smaller, who's an Ant-Man reference.
Oh, we know about this.
Gross.
I'm explaining it.
That's just
a reminder.
back memories.
Oh, no.
I was glad when he was no longer alive.
For your
A
benefit.
little bit of a Scottish accent there.
I
I was glad when he was no longer alive.
Rob, do you know what the reference is?
No.
Oh, there's like an Ant-Man character, and he's had he's gonna have sex with someone, but like he shrinks down really small and he goes into someone's bell end, and then while he's playing about in the bell end, he sneezes and grows to full size and just explodes him.
Well, that's in The Boys.
That happens.
Yeah,
That's Boys season 3.
I'm surprised they had the budget for that.
It was fucking amazing. I was confused and then was like,
it
The whole
is
time.
Amazon. It's one of like the most, if not the most popular item on Amazon currently. They definitely have the money.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Shame it's rubbish.
Oh.
vintage Alec.
It gets a bit graphic, a bit over the
Really?
top.
Yes, it's definitely
Just a
does.
bit.
It's not graphic enough.
Yeah,
More
that one's-
Nicoles.
More penises. Yes.
More.
More.
Their budget is got like a list of things. It's dick explosions.
It's like
Explosions.
the random baby who
Explosion.
just lasers people in half.
It's that. I mean, like they have a superhero sex orgy in one of the episodes. They have
A
plenty of
sex
money.
orgy? Get out of here.
Herogasm.
That's what it's called. Fucking that's it. So they've got,
Like hero guys, I was just like, wait, what? And then you have the characters who's like, what's that? It's like, you can't guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what your sounds like, doesn't it?
Exactly. All right, let me see some trivia for this.
Anyway,
Why did I pick the film?
hey,
It's awesome.
hey, you can't do
you.
that. That's illegal.
I
It's
just did
awesome.
it. So
Ghost in the
That's
Shell.
why you picked it. It's a freaking classic.
exactly. He's
As long as-
he's ruining my introduction. Like
as long as you
my
watch the
introduction.
original 1995 version and not 2.0, the Redux.
Wow.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's
Bullshit.
Yeah.
I should ask you something about that, Emmanuel, but I'll wait until you've done your bit now.
Yeah. So picked it because it's like one of the most what you'd call it, the most iconic
Boring.
sci-fi.
Oh.
Well, it's the most influential sci-fi films to do with like cyberpunk theme. So like the kind of like far future, but more grounded in reality. Bit like Blade Runner, Akira. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like one of these films where you must watch it if you like Blade Runner and Akira, which I still haven't seen, which hopefully someone will pick.
Someone by the name of R. Jones, or maybe no, that's too obvious. Robert
What?
J.
You haven't seen Akira? Oh, if you
Yeah,
like
and
it,
because
you like
one of
Akira.
the reason I
Emmanuel,
actually watched
you bought
it,
me Akira on Blu-ray.
Oh, did I?
yeah.
That's awesome.
Great gift given.
So one of the reasons I watched it originally is because they was bringing out the remake, and basically I was like, oh, I want to watch the original before I watch the remake, and I watched the original. I'm like, oh, this is really good, and then I watched the remake, and I'm like, what?
Well, yes, exactly.
It kind of has
Like,
the
what did
similar,
she do?
it's the similar story, but they kind of change everything, and it's just like
Oh,
The ending sucks. It was disrespectful.
it's like instead of her being just some, I don't know, random person. Oh no, it's they've taken her real body and harvest her brain and then put it into a cyborg and then basically using her as a police officer, which is an interesting kind of story, but it just doesn't really make any. It just doesn't really work. If you're trying to remake something, you don't just start adding shit like the Killing Joke animated film where they just added a load of shit in it, and I'm just like,
which I thought you liked.
yeah. From when they actually started the fucking book,
Yeah. You're right. When it became the fucking book, it was great.
the Batgirl bit. Yeah, I remember when we went to see it, and I was like, oh, I'm really looking forward to this because it's like my favorite graphic novel ever, or one of my favorite. And then it was like this, I don't remember this bit, and then like, why, what? And I was just like, you fucking serious? And then yeah, they got on with the rest of it, and it was faithful to it. Holy, it's like, fucking, why do they do these remakes? Or
That was something because like I don't want to like steal the wheel here, but I was trying my best to make sense of this. So I was like looking on the Wikipedia page, like I am understanding the chain of events here properly. And I was like looking at the actual plot, and then I thought, oh, I'll just check what the remake plot is, like just out of interest. And I looked it up, and I was just like, oh, I don't like this version, but that version is definitely worse. Just taking like a little line of like, I wonder if someone's like, if I used to be a person, and then like I just re-uploaded that consciousness into this body, and then they go, let's make that the whole film, and I'm like, oh. I don't like the film, but I kind of preferred it when that was something she was contemplating rather than that actually being like the plot. Sorry, continue.
yeah, so good film. Well, I can understand why Alec didn't enjoy it because he was a bit bored.
I mean, admittedly, Alec, do you like anime? In case I've got to ask that question, do you actually like anime?
Animes. It depends. I think there's like a lot of animes that
Because
have like
admittedly-
their little tropey, crappy kind of thing where like there's certain elements that are like common to most animes where I'm just like, oh god, this kind of sucks. But like I like
girl,
Death-
big tits, right? Yeah, that's what you're gonna say. That's the
yeah,
biggest trope.
sure. But I like Death Note. I like Full Metal Alchemist. I'm sure there's others. There's only two in my mind at the minute.
Okay, but
I liked your name.
Okay.
But yeah, with this one, I really really struggled, and I just want it for prosperity that I fell asleep 5 times across 3 watches. I didn't ever make it all the way through without falling asleep. This had a This had quite a death rate. Sorry. Ask me a
I
question.
must
No,
admit,
I was
I did
just-
fall asleep a couple of times as well, but that was circumstantial rather than
Oh,
Yeah.
Alex.
The circumstance was you were watching Ghost in the Shell.
Same as
I love ghosts.
me, Rob. Yeah,
What was
I watched it in two parts because started watching it when I was really sleepy both times.
I watched it when I was.
I'm-
I watched it after I'd just woken up at one point, and that was the one. I was like, right, I've just got out of bed. I'm awake. I'm energized. Let's do it. And that was the time that I fell asleep most. Like,
Maybe it was so
Fuck.
mentally taxing digesting all of the information.
Gosh,
The brain was just like, nah.
it challenged my concentration. Yes, I
you
agree.
should
I must
stand up.
I must
Stand
admit,
up in
actually,
it.
that's
You will go to
like
sleep.
that's probably my biggest criticism of it, Emmanuel, is that for an 80-minute film, I don't think it would have hurt if it was like half an hour longer, just to like have a bit more subtlety rather than like just sort of like exposition everywhere. Like I was just like, yeah, it's already a short film. Like you had some room to make it longer and do this a bit more gently.
Classic Japanese. What I would say, Akira is nowhere as dense as this, though. I obviously the settings, even though they're both in cyber kind of dystopian type worlds, with similar architecture, you have very different characters.
Yeah.
Akira, they're more like hoodlums and stuff. So like it's not going to be information rich. It's going to be more action in doing than, oh, let's throw all these political terms and everything at you because
Yeah,
this is
but,
what
like-
we do in our world and we
Yeah.
don't care if you don't understand.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
in all seriousness, Emmanuel, Akira is like 12 volumes, and the movie Akira is only like 6 of those volumes. So it's like, oh wait, we still got
Yeah.
like whole other like half a series that we could do about it, about all the politics and other stuff. Well, no spoilers, but it's like,
Yeah.
Akira happens in like the first half, but then you go,
Mhm.
all right, yeah, that's like a complete ending. It's not the ending. It's like
Yeah.
it's like why Ghost in the Shell has so much stuff afterwards, because like the
Yeah.
ending for this one, it's like, hey, let's leave it on a cliffhanger. We don't know what will happen afterwards, and that's when you get all your free remakes and like free animated series, and like multiple video games.
Oh, why?
Like reboots, remakes, and all sorts of stuff, and other
Yeah.
sequels. And don't get me wrong, you have actual sequels and stuff that are great and amazing
Mm.
and stuff. But then, it's just you have to read like someone's Reddit post to understand what order to watch and which
Yeah,
one to
it's
And
disregard.
that's not fair on anybody.
yes,
But
because
it's also classic of Japan.
well, I mean, admittedly speaking, this Ghost in the Shell is the anime that brought anime to the West, because like the movie did way better in America and Europe than it did in Japan. It's
I'm-
like,
I'm surprised anime has the presence it has, knowing that, because this would make me go, not interested, man. Fuck this. You can keep your cartoons. I'm
Oh,
fine.
Obviously, like Simon said, it was released. It was one of the first animes released in multiple international countries at the same time, on purpose to draw those international audiences in. And this would have been round about the same time of the influx of Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, but specifically before even Central America, Latin America was popping off of anime. So like you had Latin America first, but then Central America and UK and multiple other countries. Yeah, it really helped. Just cool.
So I gather they dubbed it for the American market and not just afterthought. If that makes
oh no,
sense.
yeah, it was like simul-dubbed, as in like it was only like a week or two afterwards that they go, yeah, pretty much all the English is done. It's all released at the same time now.
Because that's the thing you find with like different like foreign films. They tend to like, oh, we've got this film 5 years later. Oh, we'll do a dub on it, and it just sounds so fucking strange. But yeah, I'm going to change the subject to the actual visuals. Yeah, I feel like just.
Hang on. Should we let everyone do their opening statements and stuff? You're being very not autonomous. No, wait. The opposite of that.
Right, let me make my little thing, and everyone can do that. No, because it's in my mind, and if I don't know, I forget. But based like the art style for this, I find timeless. Like the actual style is just so nice. Like the backgrounds, they just look stunning. And then the computer graphics are really dated, just because it's the 90s. But yeah, I was just sitting there most of the film, like especially that 2-minute section where you just see the day in the life of the people, where you just see the world moving. I just think it's just done really, really fucking great, and I just love it. Like I could watch an hour of just the people moving around the city and people driving the cars and stuff. It's so like the world building in that respect is just like really, really nice.
Just go Japan.
That's the beauty of 2D animation, though, because it will always be timeless. Whereas Avatar 2 will look like shit in a couple of years, and arguably does right now.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, will it take that long?
the other thing about it, because of the time period, the backgrounds, like the matte paintings, in technical terms, like the actual backgrounds that they're animating on top, they're all paintings. So some person has sat there for hours painting all them wires in that little. Like there's the shot where she's going down, when he's invisible and he goes into the water, and it shows you the street or the alleyway, and it's just like the amount of detail in that painting that someone sat there and paint. It's just
million man hours. That's literally how anime is. Yeah,
it's just, and just thinking about like the whole thing is just each, because it's old school, it's all hand drawn, animated, and it blows my mind how you could sit there and fucking do it. I just lose patience.
When you said million man hours, I just thought that sounds like a really good superhero name.
Or a superhero team. It's million man hours.
I've said my thing. So
don't mess with million man. No, fuck, I can't even do
it. I agree with Dan. Like the amount of, as a kind of into some of the production values in this, and you have this kind of stuff obviously in tons of Japanese stuff anyway, but the director wanted the movement of everything to be so realistic and so like accurate to reality. They basically went to different gun places to see how different materials would actually react and kind of how they moved to replicate that in the animation, because they were trying to obviously do futuristic stuff that they couldn't reference to real life, but they wanted it to be rooted in reality in some way. So,
that sounds like such I was gonna say that sounds like such a bullshit reason to get a holiday. Yeah, we need to go to a gun range just to see how the bullets work. Yeah, we'll just write it up on accounts. Yeah, go to gun range to check out guns. Yeah, okay.
I gotta say,
awesome.
There was a little bit that I appreciated with the thug who uses the machine gun. There's like a bit where he's like preparing to fire, and he like adjusts his foot, and he like braces himself, and like as he fires, it like sends him back a few like inches and stuff. But I thought like that's a nice little touch. Like that's something I don't see a lot. Like guns actually having recoil and you having to like adjust yourself against it. Like that wasn't something you had to do, but it is something that you put in.
I mean, if you want to say attention to detail, the fact that he went and checked his magazine to see how many bullets he had left, and you can see actually like the markers of where his bullets should be. That's like someone took a minute to actually go slide out slide it back in and then recock it. And I was like, there wasn't a need for that. But the fact that he did it was amazing because it took time for someone to actually make a point of him going, oh yeah, I'm not incompetent. I've got to double check if I've got enough bullets first. Okay, cool. Okay, back to the thing.
There's even the bit when you see her actually look in the chamber. She pulls the slide back to look in the chamber and then loads the gun. Also, when she actually drops out the what's it called? The barrel. Because it is a thing, if you shoot a lot of bullets in a short period of time, the barrel will warp or get heated. So by doing that, even though the gun, it probably wouldn't have fired that many bullets to cause that, but because it's futuristic. So by dropping it out is, like another detail. But yes, so people do the introductions. Alec.
I feel like I've kind of done mine already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody else.
Rob, do yours.
It sucked.
I'm in charge.
I will continue drinking. Just
Oh, he's got a weird horn.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything that you just said, really, about kind of like the backgrounds and all of that kind of stuff. I think that for me is probably the most interesting part of it all. Because I was saying to Alec in the week, I think sort of the reason that, well, yeah, we were talking about like the reason that he doesn't get along with it is because it's a similar thing to Blade Runner, because it's not much in terms of like, here's a character who's gonna like take you through this idea. It's more, this is our idea of the future of humanity, and have a think about it. And I really like that, and I like how they kind of leave you with it. But yeah, I kind of see how it isn't enough for some people. But yeah, I think that the way that they've kind of like presented the world, and I think probably my favorite scene, actually, I know we're not on that, but my favorite bit is that little bit sort of towards the middle where it's basically just like a montage of establishing shots, because it's just like you're just looking at the world and you get a chance to like think about it for a bit rather than sort of like listening to sort of anything in terms of like characters or anything like that. It's literally just like you've been presented with an idea and then you get that little bit of time in the middle to go like, wait, what does this mean? And yeah, I really like that approach. So yeah, I think the first time I watched this, it would have been when we were in school, possibly. I think Daniel Larson gave me it on DVD when we was in like year 10. I think so, yeah.
Of all the people.
I know, yeah.
Say that again. Remember now.
Say that again, Emmanuel?
Who's that again?
Daniel Larson.
I can't remember his face.
He looked a bit like a Smurf. I don't know.
He was a blue man. He was a nubby.
And hopefully he's not watching. But yeah, that's like my earliest memory of it. It's just having the DVD of it and watching it in like year 10 or something like that. And then yeah, I think you become more aware of like its impact than what it is sort of as you get older, because now I kind of think of it as the film that sort of inspired Matrix and things like that. But yeah. But no, I really like it. Like I said earlier, I wish it was like half an hour longer so that it could be a bit more subtle in some places. But yeah, I'm a big fan.
Your viewing today, actually, that was inspired by Ghost in the Shell as well.
Well, I'm sure it was.
James Cameron said Ghost in the Shell was a direct influence to Avatar and Avatar.
Did he actually say that?
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know how.
There is some body transcendence, because remember he does change from being a human to one of the blue dudes.
That's a bit of a stretch, isn't it? I was going to make a joke about, oh yeah, we used bad CG, and that's like how we got influenced by it. That's what I was thinking. But it's like, no, because in all seriousness, because like Ghost in the Shell is better hand drawn than it is 3D animated, because like even in manga form, it's like it's still got all the details, but because it's hand drawn, you can just like take your time to like look at like it's very picturesque, which I get you guys are, and I understand that you guys are talking about like how it looks nice and how like it lets you like live through like images, how we can see the lives of people. But to me, that's just like, this is just this is just Tokyo and Hong Kong. I've been to these places. I know it's just I can imagine the smell of that anime place. That's like, to me. It's like, is it that special? It's like, that's a very me thing, right? Because like Blade Runner originally also have people say, yeah, it's based off like the old cities in Kowloon. I'm like, is it? Got to fly back there afterwards and go, oh yeah, it absolutely is. It's like, it's cramped, but it's like a mix of like a farmer's market, but next to it, it's like a skyscraper. It's all wet. It's all water everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this is absolutely Hong Kong and Shibuya, Tokyo. Yeah, makes perfect sense. But it's like, because of like, it's a very like, it's supposed to be like a talking point about how like modernization is supposed to be a contrast to like traditional things. But to me, that's just like the way that life is. It's not really like making a statement. It's like, yeah, that's just life, to be honest. It's like, but keep up with everyone else, or with our robotic bodies, or we'll be left behind. That's why I guess even with the characters of like the Major herself, because I think the Major is like the most robotic of all of like her group. Then she's got like the big tall lieutenant dude with the circle eyes, and afterwards you have her like other guy who's kind of like the Joker, but because his body is mostly human, he doesn't seem to get like as much like recognition from like his higher ups. But the Major needs him because it's like, no, I need you to be human because you can still think like a normal fucking human being, unlike us lot who are like fucking robots. And it's like, okay.
When you say the Joker, do you mean like the comedic relief, or do you mean like
comedic relief? Sorry,
oh,
like the Joker of the group. You know, it's like if it's like a band of people. You know, because you also have.
I was just like, hold on.
No, sorry.
I missed this character.
The funny man, Mr.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still use a revolver because it's classic. Why do you use? I mean, like, you don't need to be that classic. Revolver jams. Get a fucking better gun. Okay, I'll get a better gun afterwards. But yeah, him, yeah, because they still have like the very typical. Oh, would you say is typical anime characters, or just typical characters of the main person, the big guy, the hacker person, the funny person, and like the guy who's the head leader guy is always in the office. Those are like just typical character traits, right? It's not like anime specific, or is it like, I don't know.
I think those are all positions that would be filled in that kind of like company.
Yes, okay. Fair
As you were listing them, I was kind of like having flashbacks of like who the characters would be in Avatar, and then you said the funny guy, and I was like, we've gone too far.
I haven't watched
Funny.
it yet.
The funny
like,
guy isn't the scriptwriter, but it kind of is.
I was about to say, it's like, is it really that bad? I don't want to divulge. Is it really not worth watching?
I wouldn't.
Oh,
Yeah, I
wait,
wouldn't.
Ghost of Hell. The remake.
No, we're talking about Avatar too.
We'll talk about Avatar too. It's like
I do want to ask you about that, though, Emmanuel.
Yeah, I'll tell you all about.
Oh, yeah, all right, yeah.
Hmm?
No, I was gonna say he's gonna wrap up like the tape around his fists and goes, all right, let's talk about Ghost of the Shell remake. Yeah, okay.
But before you start talking about the remake, though, so when you said that you preferred Ghost in the Shell 2, did you mean Innocence or Redux?
I mean, Innocence. Redux doesn't.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. Because it's called. It's because the remake of the first Ghost in the Shell is called Ghost in the Shell 2.0 Redux.
Yeah.
It's like it's such an annoying naming sense that it's less like, what the fuck does it mean?
And then they took out scenes and this and that, and it's just like, what are you doing? It was just crap.
That does seem fitting for Ghost in the Shell, though. Just like, oh, it's Ghost in the Shell 2.0, and it's like, no, I got the point. And it's like Redux, Innocence. You're like, no, I got it. I understand. It's fine.
That's even worse than the thing that annoys Ben when like horror films come out with like
Yeah.
a sequel and a reboot that's the same name as the original. Because in this, they've
Yeah,
literally just
wasn't
added
it?
some CGI to the start and they've called it 2.
It's not the same. It's the same thing.
Like
damn
with the
it.
fucking with the Halloween films.
Mm.
So, which Halloween film did you say? Oh, yeah, Halloween.
Which one?
2008. What the sequel? No, yeah, it's the sequel to the original.
But it's the same fucking name.
Why did you
What,
do-
Ben, what will piss you off even more is
Uh.
when we go into like if we ever go into watch Ghost in the Shell, the anime series where it's called standalone complex of SAC, but there's SAC 2 and there's SAC 2.2, but like the Arise.
What?
And
Yeah.
it's so stupidly fucked up.
Who the
It's
fuck-
so pointless.
I'm gonna attempt to segue this to get back on track.
Yeah,
Because I feel like Rob and Simon have both set me up for this one, and I know that I've already done my opening statement, so I'm going to do a film club first and have two.
Of course. Only Alex way.
Yeah, fuck this. But that kind of thing like really sums this up, because it's just kind of like this is a big, expansive world where people live in, and like Rob said, it's something that is presented, and it's something for you to kind of you have to kind of accept it and think about the implications of it. So, but like I find my trouble with something like that is that I don't have a character to anchor with, and I don't have someone who's going to be reacting to things to new information and everything. So like I'm stuck where everyone knows what everyone else is talking about, but I don't know what they're talking about. So what Simon was saying about how you have your Joker character, you have he's Togusa. He's like the least roboticized of them. He is hired specifically to be a human and think like a human. And it's like, oh, I mistakenly went, this is my fish out of water character. This is my guy who I can use to understand the story through. He's not in the film very much. He's in like about 3 scenes at most. And instead I'm stuck with these two guys who have been in this world, who are both androids, who don't need to communicate with each other because they already know everything. So they then have to go, like that. There would be one thing, but they then go, we do actually have to explain some things to you. So they then explain things to each other that they already should know. And it's that clip that I posted the other day, but it was basically sort of like the Major is talking to Bato, and he's like, hey, are you drunk or something? And she goes, well, it's easily remedied, because the nice thing with these android bodies is that they metabolize alcohol really fast. So I can we can both just just chuck them all back, and it doesn't affect us at all. We can still go straight to work, and it's all good. We just have to wait for orders, and we can get fucked. It's all good. And you know this, and I know this, so there's no reason for me to have said that.
Your product placement in that scene as well.
Yeah, that too. But I was just like, for all the effort you put in to immerse me in this, you then have a conversation like that, which doesn't need to occur, and I'm like, oh well, you've just fucked that. Why did you go to these lengths to make me go, oh, he's counting the bullets. Oh, he's bracing himself to do his machine gun. And then you have two characters who don't need to talk to each other about something. They're having a conversation like that. And I'm like, fuck it. What's the point?
Okay. You're absolutely right with those points. But the main there's a slight
Get shit on, Ben.
There's a slight thing about it.
What the fuck?
There's 2 points about it. For in conversation, like it's kind of like he's not really going, oh, should you be drinking that much? Like, he's just pretending because it's conversation that people have, and it's like, should you be drinking that much? Because like, don't worry, we've got nano machines. I know we have nano machines. I was just being nice and making conversation. You didn't have to be a bitch about it. It's essentially what's happening in that scene. But the main reason why they don't usually would have this. They wouldn't really have this conversation. Is also because they know about it in universe, but obviously we as the audience don't know about it yet. But in the manga, there's like fucking chapters, like whole pages of like translator notes and like tidbits from the like author, which you can't obviously make into anime because you can't. It doesn't make sense. You can't just have like, oh yeah, translators notes. They have nanomachines. They can like digest alcohol easily.
But you don't need all that. All you need is Togusa's in the scene with them, and he goes, "Fucking hell, you're drinking a lot," and she goes, "No, it's fine because android bodies metabolize it." And I'm like, "Oh, just changing who she's talking to contextualizes it to make more sense." And then I get the information because she's giving the information to him, and I hear it. So I go, "Oh, thank you for that."
But it wouldn't make sense for him to be there because he's with his human family, if you know what I mean. So it's sort of like silly things. I know
it could make sense if she's trying to ingratiate him into the team. Like it doesn't have to be as it's written. She can be going like, okay, so you need to get to know the team better. Let's all fucking get wasted on my boat. Oh, you're the only one who's getting wasted, actually. Like,
I get what you're trying to say, but it's like the main reason that it's done the way that it was done is because the author just went little like tidbit notes, and the animators just went, "Oh, just add some extra information for the sake of the viewer because no one's gonna know what the fuck is happening." That's the only reason why.
But absolutely demolishes my immersion in it because
I know
it's like I show you a scene and I'm sitting with Humphrey and we're drinking on his boat, and then my stomach gurgles and he goes, "Whoa, are you hungry?" And I go, "Yes, but that's easily remedied because when we eat food, our stomachs will produce a hydrochloric acid which will break down the food, and then I can just eat until I'm full, and that's the problem solved." And he goes, "Ha, you're right." And I'm like, "What's the fucking point of that?"
Well, I mean, this is also an aspect that's what makes anime. We all know that the pot of greed card from Yu-Gi-Oh! Lets you draw 2 cards. We don't need him to explain. It goes, pot of greed, it lets me draw 2 cards. Yes, everyone knows that pot of greed lets you draw 2 cards. You don't need to say it for the 50th time in the anime series. It's one of the main cards that you use. It's pot of greed, draw 2 cards. And I use pot of greed to draw 2 cards. It's like, we don't need you to say it. We know what it does. It's like you're just adding minutes for the sake of adding minutes. There's no point. But like, I get what you mean. I absolutely understand what you mean. It's just like, it's context for the viewer, but the viewer kind of has a more common sense to go, we kind of get it already. You didn't really need to layer it on as thick. But yeah, I get what you mean. Emmanuel, you had your hand up as well for a long time. What's up?
Just quickly though, on what you were just saying, right? So about like it being sort of the thing where they're going like, oh, this is how humans talk, so let's make small talk between ourselves and like that kind of thing. Like, even if there was just like what I was saying earlier, if you had like an extra half an hour or so, they could have set up sort of something where you're kind of going like, oh, this is just their relationship. This is how they sarcastically talk to one another. And even that would have been fine, I think.
That's true. But I think that would have diverged from what the director was envisioning. Because do you guys admit like the Major in this film is very like cold and very like stoic in her face, like facial expressions, very like doesn't smile and has like no emotions, like a cyborg, a robot, right? In the manga, she actually has quips and jokes and she has merrymaking and like, you know, she has fun with her co-workers, like the 3 secretary robots with the boss guy. She goes into their like workspace and has like drinks with them in their like workspace when she's not allowed to, but like they do it because they're co-workers. Like if you add, because there was so much they could have added to the manga, but the director said, I want to keep it as a very simple story where I don't need to add all this like unnecessary, so I'll just shave some stuff off to do it. That's kind of what he had envisioned. So I don't know how to explain that though.
I want to say it was a simple story.
Well, I mean, okay, simpler story. Come on.
Sorry. Emmanuel's been waiting for the long.
Yeah.
It wasn't to be simpler. Basically, I wish I watched the behind the scenes already, but I kind of waited too late to watch the film. But basically the director wanted Makoto to be as doll-like as possible and human as possible, to the point where usually in anime, they will have the characters blink, similar to like the average time humans will blink every like a certain time every minute. But Makoto, they had it so that she rarely ever blinked, and they really wanted the character to feel more, like you said, cold, more like a doll, less human compared to everyone around her, because of because of all of her except like brain being a cyborg. Um, in there's parts where so obviously when she goes swimming, she's flirting with the idea of like being on the edge of the precipice of life and death. And this probably goes into my thing. What's it called? What will we say when our introduction? Yeah. Sorry, this is very opening statement. This is a very long opening statement. Sorry, bear with me.
It's okay. I had two, so you go right ahead.
The author of the manga pays homage and gets inspiration and probably takes a lot of things from the book called A Ghost in the Machine. And the philosophy in this, I really like it. And it references to a lot of stuff in that book, or different philosophies in, I guess, just in sci-fi. And that's been in film since, of course. It is a film I swear Johnny Depp's been in. That's exactly
I
some.
think it's Asimov.
Hmm?
I think it's Asimov. They're talking about Ghost in the Machine.
I
I
think
know the one you mean. Transcendence, right?
yes, Ben. And
Yeah.
Alec, I can't remember the name of the author, but I think that's the name.
Yeah, it's that guy. I know you mean.
Yeah.
That dude.
Um,
Who's
But-
Isaac? He's the guy.
The dude.
Who's that guy? It's that dude.
Going back around to that, if you think about how you ask an AI or a robot question, and it doesn't really pick up on the sarcasm or to pick up on the fact that, yeah, we all know this, you don't need to say this. There might have been a point where she's drinking it and she's still kind of in that kind of trance mentality of coming out of the water, that she's just writing off facts they already know. And it's just like, yeah, you don't have to say this, but she's just in that mood. And it's also another kind of a part to her that could be cold and factual, where she's considering, how human am I? I know I think, but is it I think therefore I am, or is it just I've been replaced? Like, she's having this thing like the whole film, not sure if she could really be classed as a human, or if she is even alive anymore, or is she really just like the the I guess the ghost in the shell? Is she really like the puppet master 2501, which is, and obviously the whole film comes full circle when they merge together. Anyway, it's just there's a lot of small things in this film as well. Like even them using um like programming code C in like one of the scenes where they're trying to look into the puppet master's body, the people from Section 6. There's lots of random things, and there's a random quote from the Bible there as well. But yeah, good times.
That was
Sorry,
the same one in Love Exposure, actually.
there was, yeah.
That's a good spot.
I mean, anime and like, well, sci-fi anime and Christianity usually go hand in hand with each other sometimes. So it's kind of no.
What a fucking sentence.
It does. It really does. It really does.
It's definitely true. It's just what a sentence
100%
that
true.
is.
It's just like
You're 100% accurate, but that's a fantastic. Yeah.
Anime and Christianity.
no.
They're
Sci-fi
like-
anime and Christianity. There's always been. It's always got like some sort of like hand. It's hand in hand. You've got one side. If you got the other side, always mashed together somehow.
They're like bacon and Marmite. They just go together.
They go together, like, yeah.
Oh wait, Pat. What
Hi.
was your intro to the Ghost in the Shell?
Oh fucking hell! I had this about 45 minutes ago. It's long gone at me. This was my first time watching it. I saw the remake first. I'm probably going to be in the minority that I enjoyed the remake.
Boo. Boo.
But I enjoyed this as well. So like,
Fuck you.
it's not like I enjoyed the remake and didn't enjoy this.
But Pat, the golden question: which did you enjoy more?
Oh, this is far better. But I still
Mm.
enjoyed the remake for what it was.
Hmm.
I haven't actually seen the remake. I just trust that it's not very good.
Credit. If I hadn't seen the original, I might have thought similar. But
Yeah,
because
that's the thing.
the original, and the part that egregious me the most, I remember, like, this is very shortened and simplified, but I said to Camilla at the end where she's just like, I'm just a Japanese girl and a white lady. I'm just like, that is shortened down, but I was just like, what? I was like, suspension of disbelief most of the film when they was changing stuff. I was like, you know what? It could be all right. It's kind of cool. Then it got to this. I was like, nah, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, it sparked off controversy as well because they people kept challenging the director. Why didn't you actually get any famous Asian actor or any Asian actor to play the role? Why did it have to be Scarlett Johansson? They really wanted to like push that she was in some
Because I read the Wikipedia on this, and they said like apparently the filmmakers were like, we want to make it like accessible for like the world. So yeah, you make a Scarlett Johansson.
and it ain't freaking accessible. Crouching
I
freaking Shang-Chi.
I agree, but apart from I think you just said something about Shang-Chi, so I'm obviously going to disagree with that. But like,
I think, yeah, there's a trouble with Hollywood. There's like the element of like taking a risk and either making or losing money, and that ultimately is the deciding factor. So you can have, if you can have a Scarlett Johansson movie, it's, you know that you've got a chance of making profit from it. And if you're going to do a Ghost in the Shell movie with an unknown actress, even though there were plenty of really good Japanese actresses out there that they could have used, it's still like not as high of a kind of like, let's get bums in seats, Scarlett Johansson's in this kind of thing.
I think
the
that
big-
was. I think it was the same thing with like that Great Wall movie. They had like Matt Damon, and everyone was like, "Why have you hired
Yeah.
Matt Damon?"
Oh,
they're like,
Christ,
we wanna
don't even
make-
talk about that.
We want
Oh.
people to come and see
Yeah.
it. So we're getting this. We're getting Matt Damon in because people know who he is.
Even, yeah, they put him in because they knew this film was a piece of crap. So that's like, oh, what can we do to save this? Oh, the script's rubbish, but if we get a Hollywood actor like Matt Damon, it might get the profit back, kind of thing. So it's
Which is interesting when you consider like what Bong Joon-ho did with Parasite, because I mentioned Parasite at work and people actually like, everyone's like, they're all very casual like film goers, but they all know Parasite, and it's like, oh,
that's
you
good.
didn't need Scarlett Johansson. Like,
But I think it's like with the same like Ghost in the Shell, the budget was big. It's kind of like almost $150 million budget. Parasite was like 50 million, something even less than that. So that's why they can make a risk on a small film like Parasite, because it doesn't need all these visual effects. whereas Ghost in the Shell was this entire science fiction epic. You need the budget to do it justice, which the film technically was great. It's just the decisions in the film that we know about were problematic. So that's the biggest takeaway with Hollywood, is that they don't want to risk anything like that when they have to put like a crap ton of money on the visual effects, which is the shame, but that's how it is, and that's how these films are made the way they are.
Yeah, because they want to make money.
Yeah, those dickheads.
Whitewash it because they're money grabbing bastards.
Like you have that, but the main thing that got to me, it wasn't because I got the fact that they asked Scarlett Johansson to be in the film. I didn't have a problem with that. The problem I had was that instead of changing, because they already changed the story enough, they could have changed her like origin story to have been like someone from America or grown up as a child, like as an orphan who was adopted by a Japanese family. Like they didn't have to do the really in good, like big or great distaste thing of saying she's a Japanese woman inside a white lady's body. Like,
Yeah.
you should have
stolen her soul.
Yeah, you should have just changed the story. It still would have been good. It still would have been moving. But she was not from there. But the thing is, this, what you call it, Ghost in the Shell is even more multicultural than, like, it's like a Blade Runner type world. It's very multicultural. You have people from all over the world living there. You don't need to do that. You can just have someone who isn't from there or whose lineage isn't from there.
Yeah, I totally understand that, because what you could have had was you could have had someone who's they could have even stole the child like of a, because there's a military base in Japan, the American one, and you could have just had it that the child has deviated from wherever she lives and been killed, and then they basically taken her body, which is as bad as what they did, but on like more of a acceptable level. Even though it's a horrible concept, it's still more acceptable than taking
The things they could have done. I was just annoyed that they stayed with that like plot point. And it's like, if you really wanted that plot point, you might as well have just got an Asian actor. It didn't make sense to stick with that plot point and stick with Scarlett Johansson. It's one or the other.
And like if you want to talk about multiple of like mixed racial people in like one area in one place, it already had that in the anime, because like you got the lieutenant guy who is like a big, massive, like Caucasian dude in that market with all the.
He's so big, he's Caucasian.
The point is you see it in the anime with him with his robot eyes looking like scanning for people. Like you just see, like, I just noticed this because you see like that one old granny that's like looking at him like, what the fuck are you? And it's like walk past, but like everyone else is like, this is the city. What do you expect? This is like, bro, this is absolutely normal, because he's a unit, right? He's a proper big dude. Because if you saw that, like, he was walking down the street in London and there's like there's a 7-8 foot dude who's just standing there very menacingly, you'd be like, what the fuck is this? It's so scary. But it's just like, it's just life. It's just like we're all moving on. It's all like passing by. It's like, it doesn't matter. He's probably got some cybernetics here.
You walk away from him and then you just see some ambiguously naked woman just kicking the shit out of someone, and you're just like, yep. I'm in Ghost in the Shell. Right, Benjamin, you are the last to give your opening statement an hour and 12 minutes in. Let's go.
Remind me later what I have with the next.
No, continue, man. Sorry.
A problem I had with the naked lady later. Carry on.
Well, Ghost in the Shell is a very good film. I did enjoy it. I did think it was quite iconic kind of profound movie that had a lot of cultural influence and impact. As we've said before, it's like kind of a two-hander with the Blade Runner and Akira in terms of what it did to the genre and cyberpunk and neo-noir futuristic sci-fi, and I think it has all those things. It is, I think the trouble is that seeing it, even though I didn't see it when it came out and I didn't see it until now, it still has an important, profound moments in it. It just didn't have the connection to it like you guys probably would. Like, I mean, more so for Dan and Emmanuel and Simon. I didn't connect to it as much as them, but it still is an impressive piece of work. And I do like how it does take a lot of risks in terms of how it was animated and how it kind of like tells the story in kind of like a slow and not, I wouldn't want to say an adult way, because that kind of disturbs. It just tells the story like a live action movie would. It just kind of takes its time and it dwells on things, even so sometimes I'm like, oh, well, that kind of like dwelled on this scene for quite longer than it needed to. But I do appreciate that compared to the frenetic, like over the top cutting of new movies and the modern movies and how they would kind of like go back and forth so quickly. This kind of like treads water a lot. And even for an 80-minute movie, it feels like you're really spending time in the world. And I do appreciate that. And I think well, some of the weirdness about the film is that these are cyborgs and these aren't real humans, but say everything's quite cold and quite emotionally dissonant. And I do feel that you can't quite emote to the characters as well as you would normally. But obviously that's kind of the point. But they're still interesting characters, but they're not quite as nuanced as something else that I've had, or some of the films that have come out since, in terms of that they took that part and kind of went further with it. But at the same time, it's still something that kind of like I can see why they did it the way they did, to kind of prove the point about what is human, what is humanity, what is consciousness, what is life, and what does it mean to be a sentient being.
Don't say sentient.
Yeah, there were no sentient trucks in this. There was a lot of sentient and profound moments in it. So yeah, it's something I was thinking about for a while. But yeah, it's a good film.
It's good.
It's shit.
No, it's not. It's absolutely it's great. Yeah. But it does. But like the whole point of Ghost. Oh, go on, Emmanuel. Let's let you go before we get into it.
By the way, fucking love that dressing gown, man. I hate avocados, but good going.
Me too. I don't like the taste of them, but they look cute.
That's the most you thing to do.
Yeah.
Great Christmas gift. Anyway, I was gonna add to Ben's point of the kind of, did you say adult thing? Yes.
Yeah, it's an adult story. Yeah.
You weren't far off that point though, because like as a manga, Simon would know more than me, but there's lots of mangas like this that are targeted more so towards adults, where you have just tons of words on a page and so many speech bubbles, so much talking, political intrigue, this, that, and it's just information overload. But that would have been standard. And
yeah, it's a seinen magazine by Shueisha.
Yeah. And it's I've read like stuff like that. Sometimes I'll be like, whoa. But yeah, so that's standard. And then on top of that, there was another point, but it flew out my head. Well, anyway, yeah, you were right in that. I can't. Oh, that was it. To add to what I get multiple reasons why, Alec, you was like, it would have been nicer if they eased us in, et cetera, kind of giving context to things, explaining things in different ways, obviously in smart ways, in smart kind of script writing ways. And then going around to, yeah, Rob was saying it's a very classic anime thing to do. And yes, a very classic Japanese thing to do, to just throw you in it and be like, figure it out, just read and understand. just understand. And obviously, even though this was made more, they tried to keep an international audience in mind, they kind of forgot so many things in this film will still reference to their own culture. So without any context, with a lot of stuff like this, unless you know the culture or a lot of things that's referenced into, you're just lost because you're just like, okay, well, I think I get it. I've had to pause and read this 3 times, but I think I get it now. Maybe.
I think this is something like, this is going to be unfair to you and Simon because I don't think no, I don't know why I said I don't think you were here for this. You weren't here for this. But when we did Seven Samurai, there were cultural things that kind of weren't explicitly said, but which were sort of understood. All right, there are things. There's like a bit where they're going around and like the poor villagers are trying to go around and recruit samurai, and they don't have really anything to offer them other than room and board, basically. And they're kind of going around, and then there's little bits where they're in a village and they're trying to recruit them, and then like they're having an exchange with one samurai, and a samurai goes, like, he just like slaps one of them, and he's just like, "Fuck you! How dare you fucking come at me with this? How dare you even offer me something as shit as this to risk my life for? What are you doing? Eat shit!" And I was like, "Oh." That little interaction told me that samurai are of like a higher status. It would be, a lot of them would consider themselves above a lot of people, and to be offered room and board to perform for like people who aren't even paying them, awesome insult, like insane level insult. Like you wouldn't even. So it's like it's in those interactions. Nothing was said. No one went, "Hey, samurai." Oh, like I didn't have 2 samurai going, "Yes, we are of a similar like, social standing, and we're better than a lot of people. So if someone tries to offer me anything for free, fuck them." Anyway, and like that's what I got with this one. It was like characters that I felt like I was in like a museum. I felt like I was walking through an expo, and someone was like informing me on a setting rather than, "Oh, I'm here. People are saying things like that they would be saying things, and I'm gotta." And that's why I think having introducing Togusa, but not using Togusa, was like such a fucking waste.
I mean,
because like this is like when you have the viewer's kind of coming along with you. So if I went to Simon, you and Emmanuel went to Japan at one point, didn't you?
Uh-huh.
If I just joined you, and then you two just spent the whole time just talking, just doing in jokes at each other, and I was just sitting there, I was like, I don't know.
Okay.
But like you weren't like engaging with me. You both just you know each other. You have your dynamic. You're kind of just doing little in jokes, and I'm just sitting there just watching you do it, and I'm not involved in any way. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. Whereas if I had someone like Rob or Ben or Humphrey or Pat there, I could go,
"Oh,
do you know what they're talking?"
List, am I?
Yeah, you nearly weren't in it at all, but but I could at least go, "Do you know what the fuck they're talking about?" And you go, "No." Okay, awesome. I wanted Togusa there so I could go, "Did you know that?" And he'd go, "No." And I'd go, "Awesome. I didn't know that either." But
okay.
like, why? I don't know why you'd introduce him if you weren't gonna use him.
I mean, how to explain it? They introduced him as the
who?
The Tokusa, the guy who still uses a revolver in the age of automatic weapons. That's kind of the joke.
They did use him though.
Yeah, that's
He's
what I'm
not. He's
saying.
not in the film. He's not in the film. He's not
No.
there for
No.
anyone to have a conversation with
Well,
or
he
to question things so that people can explain stuff.
he is.
He's
though.
just. No, he's not. He's.
I mean,
he's in,
no.
He's in about 2-3 scenes out of like 200 scenes.
The
Like,
main scene that you have complaints about, which I understand why you have complaints about, is the scene with her and Lieutenant on the boat drinking San Miguel. The scenes that I'm talking about is like where we're doing the scene with the it's the garbage truck chasing first, well, chase scene. But like they're doing the progression of that scene. It's just like her and Togusa, and they're just talking. But that's like exposition of like the introduction of the characters of like why I specifically chose you to be in my team, because you're human, you're actually human, and we can talk about this. And it's like there's like a developing like story there, which I understand why you said initially is like the fish out of water story, because it's just like in a world and he's just not quite sure where he belongs. I absolutely get.
Yeah. That is also his intro. That is the reason why he's there, and I liked the reason he was there, but he is not in any other mission after that, other than possibly like he's possibly in like one other mission.
Well,
but like his role in the film is very fucking small, considering how many like organic interactions you could have.
But the main point of the story, which sounds a bit silly, is not about the human element. It's about the robotic, like synthetic memory element.
To accentuate the robotic element, you need to have the human element, because the human element is what makes you aware that there is a robotic element. If you have a couple of humans and they're all going like, what do you think, Major? And she's just like, well, I'm a cyborg and I can drink all day. You have something like that, and you go, oh, there's a contrast here. I realize what's happening because I can see that there's still a human element here, and I can still see this as a human going to work, and I can still see that this is a human who operates basically like a human, even if he is cybernetically augmented. But then you have this lady who's basically entirely cybernetically augmented, and she acts completely fucking different. And it's like, having that contrast there would help me understand that this is a fucking weird cyborg. Whereas if you make everyone a weird fucking cyborg, I guess this is a city populated by weird fucking cyborgs.
But
I don't know.
It is a city populated by weird fucking cyborgs.
Well, that's really nice then.
I understand where you come from. But like that's why you got the dichotomy of like the scenes of like the market square and then like the big city backdrop, because like the guy who was driving the truck and like the guy who was like still taking like in the more like slum area of the city were very humans, and that's the whole point. They're still quite human people, but they have like, even those broke people have like some cybernetic enhancements. That's why it came to the shock to the guy who was like, yeah, you know, my ex-wife, you know, it's very, I mean, like fucking like she's trying to take all my alimony and all that shit. It's like, you know, it's all fucking bullshit. I gotta do this like black market guy. He'll help me out here. Then we realize, obviously, he goes, no, you're single. You've always been single. You don't have a wife and kids. It's the whole point. It's like you're not actually a real character. You're not even a person. You're not really a person. And that's what
you've been drawn with a pencil. You're a 2D image.
Yeah, but like it's a pretty fucked up idea, right? Imagine if it's something like Alec. It's not actually Alec. Your name is Tim.
No,
Alex doesn't exist. Alec is a figment of programming and coding. There's no one, because it's like, Alec, you don't exist. Ebony, there's no such person. It's only you. It's only you, Tim. Wake up, Tim. Wake up. It's like, imagine that would be.
You've given him an existential crisis now.
but the story is, the point of the story is really about human, but it's really about what is human. That's kind of like what I'm trying to get to. It's like, are you a human because you are flesh and blood? Wait, she's still
Sorry.
there?
Yeah, sorry. Some guy was trying to take the door down.
Oh, what the fuck? Right?
That's right.
Yeah, but like, okay, as I was saying, the story is humans, but is considered what is considered a human or living being. That's kind of what the main story is kind of pushing us, like, because 2510 is literally just coding or literally like a computer bug, and it's like, yeah, but I'm sentient, so I'm a human being, and then everyone's like, but are you though? It's like, yo, yeah, because I say I am. It's like, you're not human though. It's like, that's kind of way.
This is the thing though, because I felt like I didn't have. Sorry, Bato really fucking threw me off with this, because I was like, right, he is cybernetically enhanced without necessarily being a full cyborg like she is. But
Well,
and Togusa has like the minimal amount. He's still basically a person. So I'm like, right, you've already got like 3 layers here. So Togusa should be like the most human, Bato should be like middle, the Major should be like basically just cold. And it's like, when you remove one like extreme of that dynamic, it kind of makes everything a little bit muddier, and I lack understanding of this, and I don't know why she finds. Well, I understand why she responds to 2501 the way she does, but like, I guess in like a world building sense, I'm still that contrast isn't there, so my understanding isn't there, I guess.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, because fair enough, because again, this is only a few chapters of the manga. So I feel like if you watched second movie, Innocence, this is why I gave it a bit of a lower score for my enjoyment, because they go, oh yeah, cliffhanger, read the fucking book. And I was like, oh, fuck off. And that's I understand where you're coming from, because that's explained much later in the anime series. And I think you enjoyed that as an episodic thing. I go, oh, I get it now, because it's broken down about it all being fucking thrown in your face all the time. And it's like,
well, like,
right, yeah.
like Rob was saying, this could have
Yeah.
benefited from being about half an hour longer and not having someone just in my face going like, I can't get drunk because I'm an android.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much, that's very true.
On that note, I need a really big piss. I'll be right back.
He's not an android.
Which I guess is the question, right? There's
Do androids pee?
yeah, well, yeah, pretty much just like
Androids dream of electric piss.
It's like,
Electric piss.
that is the interesting thing, right? Is kind of looking at sort of like what the future of humanity could be, because especially now that we've got like super intelligent AI and sort of like people are being replaced by, like, well, not people, but like professions are being replaced by AI all over the place and that kind of thing. It's like, well, how far is that going to go until we actually are in a situation where we're like, am I a person or am I code? Or if I am code, can I be a person? And it's
which, I mean, it's like part of original Blade Runner, isn't it? Well,
yeah.
Because like they're like, I think if I am, and I guess I don't know if this influenced more anime stuff or no. This, yeah, I mean, or Blade Runner did, but I would say this.
Well, this came a lot later, didn't it? So
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
like what, 15 years after, something like that.
Yeah.
The thing with Blade Runner is the androids in that are not really androids. They're more like living beings, because they haven't
Yeah,
got
they're
any
clones, aren't they?
cybernetics. They're just like they're like vat grown people that they've given. It's that I think the thing with like the consciousness in the computer and the making the biovat people is there's a lot of kind of like the The thing that's ridiculous, when it's like there's like a magical thing that this actually can happen, because I can't imagine you can put your consciousness into a computer. I think that's the bit that's a bit more fantastical. Because, like, okay, she's an android because they've taken her brain out of her body somehow, because that's not possible not yet, and they don't explain that. But just because they've done that, she's still a human being. It's just she doesn't have a human body. She just has a brain. It's a bit like RoboCop. Same thing. He's got a brain, so he's a real person just with a robot body. Whereas the sentient stuff is, I'd say it's more fantastical as a concept.
I guess this is where the influences of Ghost in the Shell show different stories that are quite interesting in it as well. Because have you guys watched the Netflix series called Love, Death and Robots?
I've heard of it.
No, Netflix keeps trying to make me watch it, but I've resisted so far.
Because I watch Love, Death and Robots because it's multiple stories and multiple different art styles, and it's like there's one story in it. It's called spoilers for Love, Death and Robots. Then for Zima Blue, it's mainly because it's about a robot that gained consciousness because it got upgraded so much that he could think and do stuff through its life. Then like he became like an artist and made like lots and lots of money and stuff. And he has like choice. He has essentially has free will. And essentially at the end of the series, of his life, he decides with his free will, he's going to commit suicide.
Naturally.
And that's like, what the fuck? It's like, as a robot, he doesn't actually live, but he's committing suicide. You get what I mean? So it's like whole fucking thing about like consciousness and like free will and like choices. And it's like, oh man, that fucked up my head, because it's like a robot committed. It's like, so he didn't like hang himself like thing, right? He essentially said, I got all my upgrades. I'm gonna suddenly just like turned himself off, and it's just you can literally see him like break apart his robotics things. Like he goes into a swimming pool and drowns himself essentially. And you see
maybe
him like,
this is a bit more interesting than I gave it credit for then, because I always kind of like wrote it off when I saw it pop up. But that sounds like the episode of Black Mirror with Miley Cyrus in it.
I have not watched that much Black Mirror, to be honest. That's the thing I don't watch, because it's like, okay, I don't need you to throw Black Mirror in my face all the time. Let's just keep calm, right? Jesus. So I might watch Black Mirror.
I'd just like the idea of a robot going like, oh, I can live, I can make choices, I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah, admittedly, he's lived for about 100 years, so that's like, yeah, I don't want to live anymore.
What a fucking lame-o. He's got what a fucking lame-o.
Yeah, it's such a
he can exist so much longer than anyone else gets the right to. And he just goes, oh, I can make choices for years and years and years, and I'll kill myself now.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Because it's
what a shitty robot. Fuck him.
He used to,
you can see why I didn't get along with this.
But it's like, because the concept was quite interesting to see as a story, and Love, Death and Robots was influenced by Ghost in the Shell, and I'm like, okay, I can see like the impact of it is quite a big impact as well. So it's like, it's good to see like the stories that develop from it as well. It's interesting to see them.
Yeah. So there's a story in one of the Judge Dredd books, and it's about this robot called, is it Iron Kenneth? And basically,
Iron Kenneth.
I am. He says Iron Kenneth.
Oh,
I like the idea.
okay.
I like the idea of Iron Kenneth.
I am Kenneth.
But basically, the idea is it's this robot who's like a garbage robot or something. He's so fucking mundane, but he gets sent in. And he kind of goes, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to lead that robot uprising. So all the robots in Mega City start.
What a fucking guy.
then- So Judge Dredd finds this robot that's like an innocent robot. So he kind of saves it, and the robot owes his life to him. So he basically becomes his servant. It's really fucking strange. But yeah, like the whole thing is Judge Dredd, like because he's got like no kind of people skills and he hates everyone, and he's just like got this robot being really nice to him, and he's just like fuck you. But
I love it.
but this whole thing is about robots, like because they've been used as like people's servants. They just basically did an uprising and started killing people.
I'm sorry. Iron Kenneth sounds a lot better because he's like, I can't die and I've got choices that I can make. So I'm going to spend my life leading a robot uprising, and then I'm going to spend my life pissing off Judge Dredd. As opposed to this other shithead in Love, Death and Robots. He's like, I'm just going to fucking just chuck it away. That's what I'm going to do.
Right. Well,
All for Iron Kenneth.
I don't know. I think Love, Death and Robots sounds very interesting off the back of that.
Nah, fuck that.
I'm not
I'm-
against.
there
I'm
you
not
go.
against Iron Kenneth. I mean, I think Iron Kenneth
Yeah,
has
I
its
think Iron
place.
Kenneth has like, okay.
Kenneth sounds leagues ahead of this.
His
shit.
am
name's
Kenneth.
No,
actually-
Iron Kenneth sounds better, but like I don't want to give like doubts to Zima Blue. That's the name
No.
of the episode as well. It's called Zima
He's
Blue.
Casino Blue's a fucking virgin compared to the alpha Chad that is Iron Kenneth.
Wait,
His
what
name's
does
actually-
Iron Kenneth look like? Is he like 8 foot tall?
Yeah, he's 8 foot tall. He's got the biggest dick on planet Earth.
He's
and then
actually
you just
called-
got Cosima, and he's just got a little chode.
I
he's
just
actually called
googled Iron
Call Me
Kenneth.
Kenneth. Sorry, I got it wrong. There he is. Ooh.
Your
I'm gonna
camera is
fucking-
It's
it's
blanking
fucking-
it out.
Yeah, it looks really
Stupid.
worse.
stupid background.
Show
Okay.
me Iron Kenneth.
Hey, Call Me Kenneth.
Yes,
Okay.
look at this guy.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. You probably
Yeah.
listen. Yeah,
It's
you
the-
probably kick the shit out of Zima Blue. Yeah,
He
never mind.
fucking lifts, mate. This
Oh,
would be
and-
like what happens if you like if I was a robot and if John was a robot. John's robot would be like, I'll just
Hey,
I don't really want to leave the house. I'll be like, I'm gonna piss off Judge Dredd. Let's go.
Call Me Kenneth looks a bit like Christopher Walken. I've just put a
welcome you.
picture in the group chat.
All right, there's a picture.
Where's the one? Where's so Judge Dredd's friend is called Iron Water.
I am Alec.
Water. Oh, where's the picture of it? I found it.
He's very.
I
it's
can't
such
see
a-
the Christopher Walken thing.
It's such a strange story.
Call Me Kenneth looks a bit like if Christopher Walken played Magneto and then got really embarrassed about it.
Where is he?
Oh, what a
Mm.
fucking guy. I'm gonna have a poster on him. Of
Iron Water, Iron-
I'm gonna have a poster of him on my wall just on the strength of this happening. And then I'm gonna have another smaller poster of Blue Cosima. And I'm just gonna put a fucking X on it and I'm just gonna draw little cocks. Like fuck you, you shit.
robots.
Love that.
Robots in... Who
Oh,
was
yeah.
I with when that happened? No, I think it was you when we walked past those kids in Leicester Square. And then
Oh,
that
it was when
kid-
we was at the BFI.
yeah. And that kid had his little Transformers toy and he was like, Transformers, transform on your head. His sister was like, can you get the fuck away from me? Sorry.
Yeah.
Continue.
This sounds like you've met Gary.
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 Well, it just reminds me of him singing the Randy Orton lyrics.
Oh god, yeah. I have voices in my mind.
Everybody has voices in their mind. Not Blue Cosima though, he's crap.
Yeah. So as we've completely destroyed the format of Film Club, I think we should go into our favourite scene.
What a great 2023.
Destroy everything.
So I'd say my personal favourite scene is probably the same as Rob's because I'm unimaginative. Because I'm a robot. No. To be honest, there's multiples. Like what like the whole bit with like the Day in the Life where you see it's just 2 minutes of them just showing you different stuff. I thought that was really good. But also like the bit, when you see her being made and it shows you the process of like the body being made and then they put the skin on it and she's like floating around and it's like a total card or whatever, and it basically just goes through this process. I just think that looks really cool, and like when it explode, like the exploded diagram of the head, and it comes. There's just the animation on that is really cool.
Yeah, I must admit, when that scene was going on, so I was watching it in bed and Rachel was asleep, and I was thinking, if she wakes up now, I don't know how I'm going to explain this.
Oh yeah, when she gets her skin, and you're like, oh, there's actual boobs.
So Rachel made it even less foul than I did.
Oh yeah, no, she wasn't attempting to watch it.
Not a cup of tea at all.
She asked what the film was. I said Ghost in the Shell, and she said Ghost in the Shower, and I said no, and then she said no, I don't want to watch that.
But she was willing to watch something called Ghost in the Shower.
I'm not sure, I'll clarify. I'll clarify.
Okay.
I missed that. It's so funny.
Rachel asked what the film was, and I said Ghost in the Shell, and she said Ghost in the Shower, and I said no, and then she said no, I'm not watching that.
I mean, like the opening sequence could have just been Ghost in the Shell with her like just being naked in that liquid water. But admittedly, my favorite scene was the very beginning scene.
Fucking pervert ghost.
Her jumping off the building in her camo suit, shooting the guy in the fucking face like 6 times. Then, like, as she's dropping down with the invisibility, as like you just see her a glimpse of her face before she goes and disappears completely. That's fucking awesome.
Do you know what?
She's John Cena.
That was actually one of the bits where like I wasn't too big on the animation, just because the bit where like sort of before the transition, her body goes all like, well, to me it looked like. Do you remember on the old CRT monitors, if you got like a drop of water on them, it would like magnify the pixels and they'd go all like blue and green and red and whatever.
Yeah,
it reminded me of that, and I was like, to be fair, in 1995, that probably is how you would imagine something like that happening, but I thought it dated it a little bit.
I feel that's fine because as the power of invisibility is like, because the whole point is like, it's never going to be that perfectly like crystal clear invisibility. That's impossible. But it's very much the Predator version of invisibility, where it's like, I'm pretty much transparent, but I'm running around and moving so fucking fast. You wouldn't even fucking notice me anyway. But but that scene in itself is so iconic because no matter which remake or which like shitty remaster version of Ghost in the Shell there is, that scene is always done pretty much very well. Even in the Scarlett Johansson version, it's seemingly done okay, and it's just like, all right, fucking, at least you didn't fuck that up, right? Because if you fucked that up, no one will forgive you, because that's like iconic scene, like if not the most iconic scene.
Yeah, no. Once it gets to the point where like she's actually transparent and you're actually seeing through her, like it. Yeah, I think it looks really cool. It's just that little bit of transition at the start where it's all like kind of like a word art effect for a second.
Okay,
it's the 90s, like with the maps, on the maps, and it's like something from an old 80s game. And they've got little arrows that are following them. It's that's what I was meant by when I said earlier on about that being dated, because you can tell it was like proper 90s computer technology where you can see like it's like really poorly like geometry and just
that's what we call Bing.
But yeah, I think it's
Oh, you've.
What?
I was about just off the back of what you just said about the thing where they're trying to do the garbage truck thing and that they're tracking it and it looks like a bad video game. I was about to go, oh, that bit really, really annoyed me. That's like a little. That's not in character for her to go into the back. Sorry, not to use the back door of like the system, because if she used the back door of the system, they wouldn't know that they were watching them. I don't know how much sense I'm making. Sorry, I thought there was like a little. I thought there was a little plot convenience of they have her going into like the garbage truck sort of navigation thing, and because she goes in through the front door, the garbage people are notified that the police are looking into their route, and then they have Bato go, this is why he used the fucking back door. But then I was like, because I was originally going like, oh yeah, that's weird, she didn't know that. But then I was like, actually, because she goes into that, they then lead her to like their contact.
Yeah, she did it on purpose.
She does it on fucking purpose. So I'm now going to elevate my story score. You fucking
wow.
Yes.
Hit the bed. Take my money.
He said hit the bed.
Take my money. No. But yeah.
So, do you have a favourite scene, Alec?
Yeah, Alex. The one you actually watched. Through.
I'll have you know that despite the fact that I fell asleep 3 times in one viewing, I went back and I watched everything, which is more dedication than I think you can expect from the average bear.
More than the average bear.
Oh shit. Well,
no.
Alex remembering, the other bit that got me was when she fucking pulls the lid of the tank off and her arms snap off. I always kind of like, oh, it's so brutal, but it's so well done.
Yep.
Because it just shows you the always stuck in my mind. I was like, even when I watched it earlier on, I was like, oh, it's that bit when you see she's grabbing her whole back contorts and her arm just goes snap. And I was like, oh.
I thought of one. I thought this was the point where I had the highest hope for the film. The hope was not achieved. But like with the hacking thing where he's like sure he's got a wife and kid at home, and then he's like gonna get him a photo, and then they show him the photo, and he just sees a picture of himself, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I was like, can't wait to explore that later.
Nope.
No.
Just a random guy.
Doesn't get explored later. And then they find the puppet master, and then
it's a woman.
It's a woman, so they can't prosecute.
It's really weird because I gather the actual the person they find like in the street that gets hit by the truck, I think they allude to the fact that it's the same person as Major, because they do like some weird, when they have it on the computer, they show them both together.
The same body.
Yeah, same body type, same sort of like manufacturing code is what they were going for, because they're both like A class units from like the company, and it's just like because they're the same sort of like model make, and they're like very similar to like the personalities and like, well, say personalities, but because their programming is similar, they can like interact with each other, and that's what they didn't want. That's why they had to get 3 fucking helicopters with no missiles, just snipers, just to go, okay, let's just shoot them in the head and be done with it. Why did you not fucking shoot a rocket at them and be fucking even more done with it? Fucking, it's a bit stupid in those points.
We were done with
wings.
it.
The fucking helicopter's got wings.
We could be more done with.
That was just for style. Come on now, come on. You know that was just for style. No need for wings or like that.
They just, it's yeah.
It's for stability. No, you don't need feathers on those robotic wings. It's just for style points. Come on now.
Yeah. There's something else that's done that as well that I can't remember it right now.
Gundam.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, Gundam does that as well, yeah.
Gun them all down.
So, anywhere else for
That
favorite
was
scenes?
funnier in my head. No more from me.
No, I have a problem with the fact why I was saying remember. I mean, remind me. This is probably maybe not a problem to other people. I don't know. Why is it that she can only be invisible when naked? The
That's how it usually works, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, like she still has. She's not naked. She has like that very tight form fitting suit.
It's like a skin color suit on.
Yeah, and like even like her face and hair can't be like camouflage. She has to wear that weird like face mask thing with like the veil to be naked, to be invisible. To be honest,
but why is it she can only be like that when the scouts from Section 4 can wear their military clothes and be completely invisible? We only saw them right near the end when they was putting the puppet master into the car.
oh, because one has a military budget and one has a police budget.
Oh,
Sorry. That's all I can think of. Like, oh yeah, because Section 6 has more money than Section 9. That's the only reason why.
Are you upset about a camo outfit?
oh.
Are you upset because the clothes and shoes aren't right?
Oh,
See?
He is indeed.
and shoes.
I
Mayo is
but
right.
Stop talking because he can't say anything if you talk over him.
it's not that I'm upset. I'm just it doesn't make quite sense. If you make it so that someone else has perfect invisibility and they don't have to be naked, so why is she basically naked when she's invisible? Why does she have to strip and take off her clothes?
Because a man wrote the screenplay and a man animated it.
Oh.
That's it.
It makes sense if you're trying to make something invisible. You want to have like as little detail on something as possible. So
That's
you
true.
would have to revert to a skin suit.
Yeah, but the scouts from Section 4 don't wear skin suits.
Yeah, admittedly. Well, actually, no, Emmanuel, that's not completely right. Because like the guy who was in the police, not in the police, sorry, during the chase with the police, the guy who was like the informer for the garbage truck, the guy who's sticking like the credit card things underneath, he was wearing an invisibility sort of thing. But that was just
not him. He was wearing a cheaper version.
Yeah, but what I was going to say is this: because he has the cheaper version, so maybe they don't. It really might just be a budgetary issue with like what they could access, because like they were like, oh, he's got a class 6 invisibility camo unit, and it's like, oh, maybe she's got like a class 9 version, and like the military personnel of Sector 6 has like a class 10 version. Maybe it's just because it literally could just be a budgetary issue within their within the like the in-universe. That could be what it is, literally.
Maybe. I think it's just one of those things that's kind of hard to believe when they went all out on her whole body and her maintenance, but they can't to give her some really good thermal optic clothes that aren't skin tight.
I mean, budget issues, and because the author said so. That's the main two reasons.
It's
Budget
always
issues and the
that.
author said so.
God, you're such a Puritan.
Or the fact that they didn't want to have to bother like drawing camo on her because she's
Yeah,
the main
pretty
character.
I gotta say, I do remember when I saw the trailer for the remake, and I was just like, "Whoa, what's Scarlett Johansson doing on top of that?" Oh my god! And then I was like, oh no, it's just a skin suit. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a style thing.
Yeah.
Does it have to make sense? No,
Yes.
because it's sci-fi.
Yes, it fucking. Oh my fucking!
That's not-
Don't start it off again.
Oh wow!
You went there. You
Snap.
went there.
Look, even with
Sorry.
sci-fi, you can only get
Sorry.
away with so much with nanomachines. You can't just blame everything on nanomachines. That's
No,
not how that
that's-
works.
Either that
tell
or
it
it's
so.
the quantum realm or something. Something with the word quantum in it is the
The
problem.
thing is, if she was so upgraded that she could actually turn invisible without actually having like the vow or anything, she wouldn't have to wear clothes at all because she'd just go, "Oh, I'm invisible. I'm not invisible."
I think all you need is that it's a skin suit designed to go camo. It doesn't like it can't work if there's too much detail on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has the shell and she has a suit that makes her go
'Cause
invisible.
You think about the tank. The tank's got a cloaking thing, and that isn't got any detail on it. It's just, is it orange or beige?
is it blue?
Is it blue? I can't remember, but basically,
No, it's like it's more close to beige.
yeah. So it's
Okay,
just a
so-
flat color. There's no real detail to it, and it's probably, I don't know.
If
Maybe
it's got a bend light around it,
you'll have to have a
then yeah,
less-
you can't have it with detail.
Yeah, and it gets so easily like uncloaked just by having some glass and rain drop on it. Then afterwards, it's completely.
Or
alright,
even
fuck-
if she moves.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but that makes sense, right? If there's a solid object and it's
Yeah.
invisible, the rain's gonna hit it and you're gonna see it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how-
but essentially, it just went. All right, my camo's done. Fuck it. There's no more camo. Just
Sorry.
let's see.
Emmanuel's trying to say something.
Oh, I was just saying yes to you, Simon. I was going to say something afterwards, but you can carry on.
I feel like also mainly because I feel like the people who were with them was like they were like the main like sort of like military ninja group of the thing, because like it took that was it Basso or was it the other guy who actually saw like there was a problem with the doors closing properly? I can't remember who it was. It's
Took
it's
us
the
out.
comic relief guy.
yeah, it was comic relief guy who was doing like police detective work. And he actually-
Hosuka!
yeah, those guys. So it's like 1, 2, 3. That doesn't make sense. And he had to call the major. It's like, yeah, major, you probably have like a camo unit guy who is probably in there with you. Just like watch out because the doors didn't close properly. And it's just like, all right, yeah, because like obviously I don't know. It's like it's just it could be just budget issues, because like if you want us to talk about like the level of camo and shit, like I don't know, maybe it's because like you afterwards have like the foreign secretary guy who has the robotic arms that can split into like lots of little metal fingers. That always freaked me out as a kid. I kind of find it cool. I kind of find it cool now, right? Because it just because the way that it just like rips open his hands and just
Yeah.
starts typing, it's like, oh, that's like, it just gives you like the heebie-jeebies. It's like spider's legs, and it's like freaks you out a bit. It's like, ugh.
That'd be great if he just like split all his fingers off into like individual little pieces and he was just like typing away just like really, really quick. And he's just like, oh, I wish I had some autonomy because I choose to kill myself if I could. Just
Oh, man.
because I'm a boring cunt.
He's got to live for about 100 years first. So that's-
Maybe.
But you saw the ladies at the death when they're tracking the vehicles as well, who have the same fingers. They have the same mods.
it just looked a bit weird to me. It
It's-
just looked a bit weird.
I don't know if it was the first one to do it, but there's a lot of like I'd say references, but it's other people borrowed that idea. So in Warhammer, there's people that have got them type of fingers where they split out doing their typing, and I think it's in Cyberpunk as well, where people have got them kind of
Well,
crazy typing fingers.
I feel like again, this is Ghost in the Shell has influenced or mostly, well, yeah, pretty much Cyberchunk. Sorry, Cyberpunk.
Cyberchunk.
Cyberchunk. Yeah, it's a
Guy
chunk
online.
of Cyberpunk. Yeah. That's it.
This is nearly as bad as Ben's sentient truck bitch.
Cyberpunk as a genre was influenced very heavily by Ghost in the Shell and all that stuff. So if they go, oh yeah, that looks fucking cool as shit, let's just use all that stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, Cyberchunk. Yeah, Cyberchunk, the biggest part of Cyberpunk. Yeah.
I think you're gonna kill Rob if you carry on with Cyberchunk.
he's dying. He's dying. But I don't know if the whole Cyberpunk, for fuck's sake. I don't know if.
I see it's way funnier than it is. There has to be.
The term cyberpunk comes from a role-play game that was inspired by Blade Runner. So I think it was before Ghost in the Shell. But I think afterwards they probably did all this kind of like appropriation. So it's just like, oh, we're going to take that because that's a really cool idea. And like loads of other things. You'll find it with lots of films or games, especially Cyberpunk 2077. There's loads of stuff to do with like people's minds being in a machine and like one
Cyberpunk and Cyberchunk went to the beach with their cybersunk.
sunk. Fucking hell. But yeah. There's the Impact. That's probably why I give Impact 10. It's because it's like one of them pinnacles of sci-fi genre, like dystopian sci-fi. It's kind of it's influenced a lot of things. So yes, yeah.
I didn't give it a 10 for Impact because I hated it.
Yes, you do.
Thank you.
Though it's before the film was made, I think the look of the game, is probably inspired a lot by like Ghost in the Shell and a lot of things like that, and Blade Runner and whatnot. So yeah. Oh yeah. What I was gonna say as like a dark reference to their own culture, which I was interested that they put in. So they say at the end, ironically, just before Makoto says the Bible verse from like First Chronicles 13 or something. I think he says it pretty much word for word. Just before that, he's just like, why did you give me this body? It was in the black market. And I was just like, both me and Camilla was just like, that's in so many ways, but it's also very Japanese. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fucked up thing. That's why they're like, let's not even go to that, man.
Oh no, I need a tiny robot body of a fucking prepubescent girl. Luckily, I'm in Japan.
Because that was the thing when I first watched it. When I saw that bit, I was just like, "This is really bizarre. Why the fuck would it kind of weirded me out a bit. I was like, oh, why have they got a girl? And then watching it again, I'm like, okay, I understand. He's kind of like desperate to get a body for her. But then the connotations of Japanese people and schoolgirls is a bit like
yes, that's always been like a problem, especially during that time where the like age consent is much lower than it is now. So it's just like it's a bit
yeah.
But we won't go into it.
Yeah, let's not go into that. Yeah,
let's not go into that.
But it's still better than a white woman just suddenly getting replaced by a Japanese woman immediately, though. Somehow that's still better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I think that
Okay.
reaction was everything we needed.
Yeah, I wanted that to be a joke, but you guys, I guess
Okay.
it's like, okay, never mind. Fuck it. Cyberchunk.
Oh, dear.
So in any case,
Jesus Christ.
But one thing while I figure out my favorite theme, because I couldn't figure out yet, One thing I would say about the second film, Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, the first one, so ironically, I saw the second one first when I was younger. I don't know how, but I ended up seeing the second one first. And then I found out later, I was like, oh, not found out, but I was like, oh, yeah, I should watch the first one. And I was just like, oh, this is also really good. So I like the second one a little more. But the thing is, the first one is animated better because in the second one, they use a buttload of CG, which does not age well. Alongside quite artistic 2D animations, but the CG is just like, what are you doing? But they went in even more on the music. In the music in the second film, which is very similar to the first one, just even more epic, has stuck in my head since I saw it probably near sixth form age, to be honest. Like the music in Ghost in the Shell 2 and Akira are just iconic. Akira, if you haven't seen it, when you do see it, I think you're right. But the music in it, I was playing it today for Camilla. It's just like it just gets me excited. Like every time I think about it or hear it in my head. But anyway. I think I'll probably have to go similar to Alec.
Ghost
But
in the Attic.
Ghost in the Shellac. It's a film about nails.
Ghost in the Pillar.
In terms of favorite scene, but for different reasons. And it's probably because I've seen it before, but when they go to the guy and be like, dude, you've been single for time. Like, what? What? I know I shouldn't laugh, but I'm just laughing because the guy he's just like he sees himself, and I'm just laughing because it's him and his dog. I'm just like,
it wasn't even his dog. It was just a dog passing by, right?
oh, actually, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't even his dog. It was just he's literally a bachelor by himself living in that shitty apartment. He literally has no other family or anything else, just by himself.
Yeah, ironically, that breed of dogs is what the big hench guy has as the dog in the second film.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a corgi. That's a corgi. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And
That's not a corgi.
Was it not a corgi?
This is a corgi.
I
So
don't
you've played Tutti Frutti before.
but I think it's just that funny moment of just like yeah, these guys were just pawns, just more pawns using this stuff. And it's just I just find it really funny. It's like, dude, like you really thought the whole time it all sounds funny. And even his friends just like, man, I ain't listening to this stuff. I'm tired. Don't get me involved. Look, I don't care. Look, just don't involve me. And then he gets involved because the police is chasing. He's like, what the? I didn't even want to be in this mess. Why'd you do this? I just want to do work and go home. And then you find out it wasn't. He was just fake all alone.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the point, right? It's like his friend wasn't even typically him and his friend would just be doing his work and be like, yeah, it's done, it's finished. But it's because his friend was just by happenstance a good opportunity for the puppet master. Was it the puppet master or was it someone else?
It was the puppet master through actually. We don't it was the puppet master. It was a puppet master who hacked someone else, and that person then used that guy. So the puppet master acted through that guy.
Yeah, it was only because of happenstance. Like the puppet master was like, yeah, let's just use this guy and like let's just ruin his fucking life because coincidence. He's just working as a guy who can work next to like a lot of payphones and just be very easy for me to work with. Let's just fuck up his life, because as like when they're doing the police interview, it's like, can I not like remove these memories, these fake memories that were implanted into my brain? And it's like, no, you can't. It'll probably fuck up your brain. So you got to live with these fake memories, and you're going to fake wife and kids. That's that's life. Which brings me to the point of like, I don't know why you found that funny, because it's pretty fucked up, that scene.
Honestly, what I think is fucked up is that you're such a big fucking anime fan, but you don't know what a corgi is, despite the fact that it's the dog in Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah,
yeah, I know what Ainz is. Ainz is a corgi, but I don't. I'm talking about the picture. The picture was only there for like a few seconds. What was he?
Breed name.
I don't know. I'm gonna look up a wrinkly dog.
Three-faced dog, brown dog with long ears.
What is a droopy dog?
Okay, because I know Ainz is a corgi. I know his name is Ainz. That's the point of
Heinz.
Ainz, yeah.
What, 37 varieties?
That
No,
breed
no, Ainz as in like one, and then of course there's like another anime in Ruby where it's got another dog called Zwei, who's like a grey corgi. So it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, Ainz and Zwei, yeah, makes perfect sense.
Your thing? No, sorry. The breed you're looking at is a basset hound.
Was it? I can't remember like the exact image.
Yeah, about. But I'm probably wrong about I'm wrong about the dog in the second film, but maybe I'm thinking about something else. Anyway,
Much more else.
You anime kids.
I know it. I don't know. I just find the whole situation funny. Like, but in reference, I haven't seen his earlier work, the guy who made this film, but at the end he references one of his earlier films with 2501 seeing an angel before it dies, basically. And also there's like that random like mural of a tree that gets shot up.
I thought I recognized that from Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, it's the progress of evolution. I think it's what it's supposed to be.
Something.
Yeah, it's like
or path from Yggdrasil or something like that.
Oh, Yggdrasil tree. Yeah, it's like something. It's very Nordic. I can't remember if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's like it's we've seen it before in anime.
Yggdrasil is the most Nordic tree. You can ask.
It's the world's tree. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are two references to his tree. But anyway, yeah, I think I have to pick that. To be honest, I think it's hard because a favorite scene is I don't know if this and I forgot now, but the one where her arms are ripping apart.
So well detailed. Just seeing all that metal work just rip out.
Yeah. Did you hear me, Dan?
What?
What was that? I can't remember if that was your favorite scene or not. I can't remember.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes where you see her arms just break.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
It's just so visceral.
It's the whole build up to that. It's just like you're going up against the tank with what?
Nothing. Literally, she's got nothing left.
My cock and balls.
I've got nothing left.
I was waiting for someone to bring that up.
Oh,
And Rob didn't disappoint.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's an EastEnders meme for some reason.
Oh, why?
Why did you bring in
There's
EastEnders?
one more EastEnders meme than there are Avatar memes.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful.
Jesus.
EastEnders memes have one in the bank. Avatar memes have none in the bank.
Sure there is.
So
Pacific Rim has one though.
Yeah, it does.
What as well?
Fuck off.
Pacific Rim has a meme.
It does.
Yeah,
I
I
can
wasn't
fuck
big
off
on
as
that.
well.
So, any more favorite scenes?
No. Fuck this one. It's rubbish.
Oh,
Look, it's not. It's
No.
not. It's still good.
Objectively, it's good. It's good.
It's
But I fucking hate it.
No.
All right, man.
bad,
It's
man.
okay. You didn't subject me to this. It was just the weird hairy thing that's been licking a lollipop in a very creepy way for the last 15 minutes. I've been watching him the whole fucking time. It's been rough.
I mean, you're the guy who's like staring at the abyss. You don't have to stare at the abyss.
Don't call Humphrey. Don't call Humphrey the abyss. That's not nice.
Don't-
you call him
That's a
Cyber
joke,
Chunker
Dan.
now.
That's-
The longer you stare into Humphrey, the more Humphrey stares into you.
He's going to scream. Okay.
It's not. But okay.
Oh, I'm a lot drunker than I realize.
Yes. Has anyone who hasn't done their favourite scenes yet?
I think we all have now, right?
No.
I don't think Ben has.
Benjamin.
No, Ben did, didn't he?
Did he?
Uh-huh.
It's
What
been
did I
so
do?
long
No,
since
I
he
don't
did
remember.
it. I can't even remember.
I can't even remember what one of my favorite scenes is.
Me neither. That's okay.
What was it? I did like the scene with the garbage men. Basically, the rubbish men that are trying to they're doing one of them is being obviously his ghost has been compromised and all that, and the little in the day in the life of this part of Japan was quite fun to see. And they're just like driving from house to house, and he's going through each phone box kind of thing. And then there's that random Japanese guy that comes out and he says, "Oh, what about the rubbish? What about mine? Are you going to take mine back?" I just thought that it needed a bit more humor, and I think the humor bit, the parts of where the humor shines, was one of my favorite parts of the film, I think. And there's another scene later on where I think, what was Major's second right-hand man called? What was his name?
Ratto.
Yeah, the guy with the weird eyes. He had a lot of great humorous moments, and I did appreciate his character. And just a bit where they're on the boat, where they're just chilling and just like talking about, "Oh, you worried that you're not gonna come back, and you drown when you're down there." And it's just like they just have this like nice conversation, which is quite profound, and it tells the audience what how they feel and what they're like as being like cyborgs and stuff. So it's quite telling. I did like that scene a lot. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
the bit where he talks about being unaffected by iPhone.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah.
Right, Rob.
Rob, in the spirit of negativity, can we have like a least favorite character award? Because I want to nominate Bato.
Oh man, that's
I wanna
so mean.
nominate Pat. Oh, that's nice.
I don't want to nominate Pat. I wouldn't want to give him the recognition. Ooh.
Your mum.
You got two stern looks and your mum.
That's pretty good. That's definitely beating my average. Sorry, Rob,
What were you
Okay.
gonna say?
go right ahead.
What am I doing?
You're picking a film, mister.
Oh, we're that
Oh, I thought it was Ben this week.
Not
No,
anymore.
not anymore. He's not.
So, I'm being a bit awkward this week because
Oh, fucking hell.
because so basically I noticed I've got a bit of a tradition, and that is picking my favorite film from the last year. So I'm doing it again. So when I picked Soul, that was my favorite film of 2020, and then when I picked Tick Tick Boom, that was my favorite film of 2021. So I'm going to pick my favorite film of 2022, but it's only streaming on Mubi. But at the moment, so if you sign up for Mubi today, so you can either do it through Mubi on their website or do it through Prime, you can get 3 months for 99p. And a good thing for Emmanuel, because I know you wanted to watch it, Decision to Leave is on there as well. So you get a little 2-for-1. But the film that I'm going to pick this week is After Sun.
The Darkness.
The
Nice.
Darkness.
Well, that's what comes after the sun, isn't it?
Oh, right.
Did you not see that?
Oh, for goodness.
Alex saw that joke being made before I made it. And he's fucking pissed.
I thought no one's gonna do this, and then Pat did it, and I went, "Oh."
Great. On a random one, Rob, it took me it probably took me a good few days with Camilla's help, but she helped me pick one. She suggested a film for my double bill, and then I picked a film that relates to that. It's interesting.
Wait, you cut out there because Pat burped.
No, I burped. That was
Oh,
me.
you cut out because Alec burped.
I try to make sure all the receipts go to the right people.
I was saying that it took me quite a few days to like pick one double bill, but Camilla suggested a film. I said, "Oh yeah, to go with that." It'll be interested to ask you guys like which one she picked, and then I picked
Nice.
it. But that'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to that. I haven't seen either of them.
As usual.
Yeah, thanks for the movie shout out. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a few good things on there actually if you have a look through. But yeah, so yeah, this went on there yesterday. Decision to Leave went on there a couple of weeks ago, I think. And I think there's a few other films that I've probably mentioned through the year. But yeah, there's some decent stuff on there. And like I say, you get 3 months for 99p.
All right,
Well, I want to
mark it.
Well, sort of in a way. I think Mubi deserves to be signed up to.
Well, I guess I better do it then. 'Cause you're so nice about it.
Movie is
You know, I completely forgot to put my film in the film chat.
Yeah, we noticed.
Whoa!
I just did it. I thought, fuck it, I might as well put it on there so you don't get.
I was
forgotten.
gonna put it up for you, but I was like, I've done it before. You can do it this time.
You know what? I only realised was it yesterday. I thought, oh fuck, I didn't put it in the chat.
It's a great fixture of Humphrey ones because you don't put them anywhere, so we just have to go. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sign up for
Info.
Mubi. Just don't sign up for Apple TV because there's fuck all on it.